Welcome to Elevate, practical content that inspires. I'm Valda Ford.
And I'm Rochelle Rice, and we're committed to elevating the next generation of women in leadership.
Today, we have an amazing person who will help us be inspired as we talk about the psychology of women in leadership. I don't know about you, but I wish there would have been someone at the beginning of my journey who could help me understand how my mind works to help me or hurt me, because for sure, I didn't always follow the best path. But let me tell you a little bit about our guest. Karol Ward is a licensed psychotherapist, a confidence expert, and coach who helps her clients cultivate inner confidence in the areas of communication, business visibility, and personal growth. She is the author of Worried Sick: Break Free from Chronic Worry to Achieve Mental and Physical Health, and Find Your Inner Voice Using Instinct and Intuition Through the Body-Mind Connection. Karol is an award-winning speaker and also delivered a popular TEDx talk on the power of the body-mind connection at the prestigious TEDx Times Square in New York City. She is a regular contributor to such amazing programs as CNN, Wall Street Journal, Live, NBC, ABC, Fox News, and she has contributed to Oprah.com, The Independent, Cosmopolitan, Women's Day, First for Women, Glamour, the New York Daily News, Spirituality and Health, Yoga Journal, and Family Circle. I am so pleased to welcome Karol.
It's such a pleasure to be here, Valda, and to be with you and Rochelle. You know, when I hear my bio, I think, wow, did I do all those things? Is that me?
Okay, we could talk about some psychology right there, right?
It's true.
You don't believe your own press. Okay, so let's face it, we all have challenges as we grow forward. What would you say to women who've been through a challenging time as it relates to what it takes to succeed?
You know, there's a couple of different things that I've experienced with women in my coaching practice when it comes to success and how to keep going. And one of the first things that I always try to get a sense of is, what is their sense of self? Well, how do they feel about themselves? What's their self-esteem? And do they believe in themselves? Because I'm sure, as both of you know, if you don't have belief in yourself, it's hard then for you to lead other people. And that's not something that we're all born with. It's a process that can be developed and it can be learned. But I think that's one of the cornerstones of being a great leader when you are trying to bring your vision forward, either for yourself or for other people.
Karol, love having you on here. And when we talk about these hang-ups and hardships, that women may go through, let's talk for a moment just about some of the hang-ups women may have that are trying to move forward to succeed. What are some of the things that might be getting in our way?
Well, it's kind of like what I did at the beginning of this podcast when I was introduced. There was that moment of going, is that me? It's this sense of believing in oneself. And I think that what comes up is insecurity often happens when people are stepping into their role as a leader. You know, we're not born leaders, and we're not born people who always know what to say and do with other people. And leadership, as I said, can be learned. And it's funny that insecurity is going to happen throughout your whole trajectory as a leader. It's not something that once you get it, you have it. There are times when you get promoted or you expand your business or you're stepping into a new realm of your business where you're going to feel insecure. So having that insecurity and understanding it and then working through it is something that can cause women to get hung up when they are moving forward. And another thing, Rochelle, is I think that, and maybe it ties back into insecurity, is a sense of inner confidence. Sometimes women are disconnected from all of the things that they contribute to in their life, and not just in the business world. I mean, I've had women in my office when I say to them, well, how come you think your family situation is thriving the way it is? Who's running the ship? Who's driving the bus? Anything you want to say. And they'll be like, well, I guess I am. And they forget that the contributions that they make on a daily basis are very, very important.
Well, I mean, when you talk about hangups, though, I mean, there are so many women, particularly, who have been told over and over and over again, just going by what you said, that they're not important, or they have come to believe that they have written that script and memorized it. How do you get them to recognize, well, as you said, you're the one who's running the ship right here, and otherwise the ship would have been tossed against the rocks. How much does it take, or what does it take in order for them to say, oh, that's right, that is me, I'm special, I'm amazing, I can do this?
Well, one of the things I do, first of all, it's like raising awareness. First of all, to just be able to say, oh, by the way, to have another person reflect back like a mirror and go, oh, you're doing this and you're doing that. And by the way, did you remember that you did this and you went back to school, or you took care of your parents and you started a business? To simply hear it from another person consistently over and over again is a good thing, whether it's a friend or a mentor, a coach, therapist, whomever. But I also assign women in my practice a very specific exercise, a homework, and it's called the acknowledgement homework. And I make them literally write down every time that they are acknowledged or complimented for anything that they do in life. So it could be their kids saying, great spaghetti, Mom, or someone saying, wow, you spoke really well at that conference. Or it could be somebody saying, that meeting that you held was just great. And they have to write it down. And they don't just write it down and review it for themselves. They then bring it back into me, and they have to read it out loud. And then I respond, and then they tell me what it's like to have me respond to their accomplishments. So two things happen, Valda. One, they actually articulate what they've done, and they hear their own voice say, oh, I did that. They see another person respond to it and applaud them, and then they notice how they feel in their body when they get that feedback of someone going, that's great. So awareness, and then the practical writing things down and reflecting it to another person can raise awareness. That's one of the things that I do that's very effective.
Wow, I love that, Karol, and I love the work that you do, so deeply connected to the body. So I love this whole cheerleading part where you're playing a very vital role. There's definitely got to be some times where she feels knocked down as a leader, where there's a hardship that's come in, whether it's in business, either the deal didn't go through or a challenge with the family. How do you help her move through that? I loved your acknowledgement technique, and maybe there's a technique with regards to moving through hardships as well.
Well, one of the things, and I certainly have gone through, as you know, Rochelle, I've gone through my ups and downs, and I've just come out of a period of having my own health and business take a hit. And I've gone through this personal journey and reflection on what has gotten me through. And one thing which was so hard for me, because I like to go and I like to do things and I like to push. If something's wrong, I want to keep going, was to slow down and to actually stop. I was forced to stop, actually, but to stop before I tried to take any other action and let myself regroup. And regrouping could be crying your eyes out. It could be praying. It could be meditating. It could be journaling. It could be talking to someone to help you get perspective, but simply stopping so that you're not just putting your foot on the gas and trying to push yourself forward when you've just experienced a hardship. It's hard to do that. It's like opening an umbrella in a rainstorm. You can't do it. So that stopping is the first thing. The second thing is it's who you're going to call. Like, who are you going to reach out to give you the kind of support that you need? And I talk about this a lot. Not all people are the right people for us at certain times in our life. Meaning, if you're going through the emotional part of having a hardship, you may not call that friend of yours who's really great with strategy, but isn't so tuned into emotions. You don't want to reach out to that person when you're going through an emotional hardship. But if you need to start getting the wheels going again, how about turning to that person who's great on strategy or great with numbers or great with having a vision? So who you call and who you reach out to is very important. And again, Rochelle and Val, that goes back to the body-mind connection. When you think about calling someone, when you're in a state of what do I need, just keep paying attention to, when I think about calling that person, do I feel excited or do I feel like, oh, that's going to be a conversation? So pay attention to what the need is, who the person is who can help you with it, and how you feel about reaching out.
That is really, really important because I have a few people I trust to use as soundboards or, wow, I had this idea and what do you think? And I never really thought about the fact that a couple of them make me want to throw myself from a building by the time I finish talking to them. I mean, and it's because they are busy. I have maybe at some point given them permission to be brutally honest about something, but I don't need them to be brutally honest every time.
That's right. That's right. Especially when we're vulnerable, right? When we're on the ground, we don't need someone to say to us, hey, by the way, you're on the ground. We don't need that. We need someone to say, I notice you're on the ground. I'm here to give you a hand.
Oh, look, you're on the ground. Here, let me smash you down a few more inches.
That's right. Why are you on the ground? Tell me we already know why we're on the ground.
Captain Obvious. Yeah.
I love that one so much. Well, Karol, during this time, we're living in this COVID time now, but we're going forward, even living into a hybrid model, where women are maybe going back into work, might still be working from home because of kids, et cetera, et cetera. How, I'm looking at all of this to me as hardships that we're learning to navigate. As we continue forward, what would the advice be that you would give to women in leadership who are really struggling and navigating all these different things that they have to juggle in their daily lives as well as work full time?
Well, you both know this as speakers. I mean, the first one that I always suggest to people is over communicate. Over communicate everything. Don't assume that people understand that we need them to watch the kids for a half hour while we're on a Zoom call, or that we need to take a break and go out for a walk, that they'll just know to do that. You have to over communicate and have conversations with a lot of detail in order to navigate this time. Because before this, we were just assuming, we kind of say, oh, you do this and I do that, and you handle those calls and I do this. But now it has to be crystal clear about what you want and need. And I think the other thing is to be able to delegate. I know that when you transition from being a one-person business to you start to bring people on board, sometimes business owners, I'm not just saying women business owners, men do this too, and leaders, they don't know how to let go of the reins. And in this day and age, you have to let go of the reins. You have to trust that that person can handle that responsibility. Or if you tell your partner to take the kids out, that they're going to be able to handle it, even though you've always done it in the past, or they're going to be able to make a meal, or they're going to be able to handle all the responsibilities that you no longer can handle. And how do you know you no longer can handle them? You're freaking out. You're tired, you're irritable, you just find yourself really stressed. So over communicate and delegate, those two I think are really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think those are really important. And I just in that whole idea of hangups and hardships, when you're talking about hardships, there are some hardships that none of us could have envisioned coming forward. I mean, all of the economists and all of our financial planners have said, make sure you have 2 months or 6 months worth of capital at